By way of an introduction, let me walk you through the way in which the PRINCE2 processes and key management documents work together to form a PRINCE2 project. So let's get stuck straight in. Okay, in order to demonstrate this to you, I'm starting off here with a series of stages. There's 3 in this example here, and this section here is pre-project. I've already shown the directing a project process, which is where the project board live and breathe, if you will. It's the process they use to carry out project governance or directing a project. So pre-project, therefore, it's something called a project mandate to trigger the start of PRINCE2, not the project, because the project doesn't start until this point here. Now, the mandate is issued by corporate or program management or indeed the customer. And this will trigger the PRINCE2 process starting up a project. Within starting up a project, amongst other things, you would assemble the project management team and you would create 2 main products. The project brief, containing the outline business case, the project approach, as well as the project product description. The second management product that you will create is the stage plan for the initiation stage. And this is often a concept that, although is straightforward, seems hard to explain. All we're saying here is that pre-project, remember this is not a stage, it's merely a time frame where you're using the process starting up a project. You will create a plan for everything that is needed within the first stage within PRINCE2, which, as you'll see, will be called the initiation stage. So the stage plan contains what? Well, the tasks and resources needed to carry out the work within the initiation stage, this point here. So that would include the creation and assembly of the PID itself, the project initiation, documentation, plus a plan for the next stage. And it's the second stage within a PRINCE2 project that is called the delivery stage. There may be more than one, and in my example, as you can see, I've made space here to show 2 delivery stages. So what happens in the initiation stage is planned here. What happens at this point is the formal start of the project. The project board, of course, have been formed, and their first job here is to come together in some way, usually as a formal meeting, to agree that we are going to proceed and start work on the initiation stage. At this moment, the only commitment, and therefore money, if you will, and other resources, that they are committing to is sufficient to carry out the initiation stage, not the rest of the project. Let's assume the answer is yes, we will proceed. So we are now in the initiation stage. Here it's the PRINCE2 process initiating a project that will be used to create the project initiation documentation. And I've called out separately here the benefits management approach, since that will show, as the name suggests, how the benefits will be managed throughout the project. So this one document will continue after the project's finished and be used during the operational life of the project end product. What else happens in the initiation stage? Well, we need to prepare for the end stage assessment. Another important point. The end stage assessment that you hold at the end of the initiation stage is always the first end stage assessment, because the initiation stage is always the first stage, okay? But to prepare for it, we use the PRINCE2 process managing a stage boundary. And it's in here you create, amongst other things, the next stage plan. You see, pre-project, it was all done within the process starting up a project, because this isn't a stage. But now we're in a stage, we will use here and continue to use the managing a stage boundary to prepare for every single end stage assessment apart from the last one, which I'll come to in a moment. In a similar way, this stage plan shows all of the information, all of the tasks and resources needed to carry out the work within what will be the first delivery stage. Let's again assume the project board approved this. So now we're in the second stage, which is a delivery stage, and I just added a third one as an example. There may only be a second stage, or there may be many more delivery stages. It depends on the nature of the project. So let's assume the project board have approved this second stage, and the project manager is given the authority to manage that stage. The first thing the project manager will want to do using the PRINCE2 controlling a stage process is to give out the first of often many work packages. And a work package contains at least one product description, often several. So who needs to carry out the work within the work package? Well, it's the specialist team, and they use the process managing product delivery. So here's the first of often many work packages. Now the team here, usually a team manager, if not the team members themselves, need to agree that they understand the work package and they can carry out the work within the constraints laid down. By constraints, things like time, cost, if it's appropriate, tolerance, and so on. Now the team, once they've agreed, a handshake if you will, between the project manager and the team manager or the team themselves, once they've agreed to start work, then work can now be started. Forming part of the information in the work package is how often the project manager needs a status report on the work itself. And in PRINCE2, this is called a checkpoint. It can be a report, it could be a face-to-face meeting, it could be an email, whatever makes good sense. Typically, checkpoints will be once a week, although they could be longer or even shorter, depending on the needs of the project. What is now happening is probably 90% of the project budget is being spent within managing product delivery, since this is where the products get created. It's where the products get quality checked and authorized and signed off. So let's suppose at this moment in time, all of the products within the work package have been authorized and approved. The team now need to advise the project manager that they've completed all work on that work package. The handshake again is being used here, so the project manager needs to confirm that they are content that yes indeed everything has been done. What might now happen is the project manager gives out the second work package and a third and a fourth within this stage. It's highly likely that there may be more than one specialist team, in which case the project manager may give out several work packages to different teams at the same time, or one after the other, whichever makes good sense. Now, the project manager is controlling a stage, this one as it happens, and as part of the project manager's remit, when the project board authorised the next stage, is that the project manager should give a regular progress report to the project board. And in PRINCE2, this is called a highlight report. These tend to be monthly. Again, it could be a different time frame. And this keeps the project board informed. Now, let's assume that the last work package has been given out and work is drawing to a close. In other words, all of the products within the stage have been or are about to be completed. The project manager will once again use the managing a stage boundary process to prepare for the next stage. In my example, the third and final one. Yet again, this process will, amongst other things, have the project manager creating the next stage plan. By the way, what are those other things? Briefly, it's updating the PID, carrying out product-based planning for the stage plan, updating the project plan, updating the business case, and so on and so forth, all in preparation for an end-stage assessment, just like this one. Now the project board, yet again, need to decide whether they close the project, ask the project manager to go back and replan it for whatever reason, or, yes, we like what we see, proceed. Let's imagine it was the latter, so I can complete my diagram. Just like before, the project manager needs to give the project board regular reports, that's the highlight report of course, to keep them up to date with how the work in the stage is going. Finally though, there must be the last work package in this third stage that is now being completed. Unlike the previous stage, the project manager will now use the process closing a project to carry out a slightly different set of activities in order to close the project down. And I'll be showing you what those are in a later slide in this lesson. So there's the big picture, if you will. Let me now take you through, first of all, pre-project, then the initiation stage and delivery stages, and then the closing of project.